Hello, good afternoon or evening or morning based on wherever you are. Welcome to our DM deep dive for D&D in a Castle. I'm Tara, founder of D&D in a Castle, and I have the great joy of meeting with our guest today, Mháire Stritter, who is joining us from Germany, I believe, and who will be dungeon mastering at our upcoming castle, D&D in a Castle, this November. So welcome, Mháire.
Hello.
And I'm going to start out by saying,
me.
yes, that is how you say that. If you're seeing that name, you can say Mháire, like Miley Cyrus, but if you had like a speech impediment where you said Mháire instead.
Oh yeah, it's like Miley Cyrus just with an R instead of an L. You're right.
There you go. Mháire
Got a
Cyrus.
new way of explaining.
Yes.
Okay.
Great. So welcome. Our first comment is already in there. Woohoo, let's go. Yes, let's go. And if you do have any comments or any questions for me or for Mháire about her game, D&D in a Castle, anything like that, feel free to drop those in the chat and we will pick them up as we go. So Mháire, first of all, let's hear a little bit about you and who you are and what you do with D&D.
Yeah, I've been a professional GM now for several years. It all started with, as a hobby, of course, as it usually does. And I've been the face and one half of a YouTube channel that deals with TTRPGs, a German-speaking YouTube channel for 15 years now. So we just had our anniversary, and that kind of led to doing actual plays and then doing jobs as a professional GM. So I've done lots of different things, from people who wanted to promote a game, people who want to promote something with a game, and also recently, the last 2 to 3 years, I've been GMing for official German broadcasting, actually. And so lots of things I've already done and lots of things I've written, I've run. There's a few books out there. Yeah, that's me.
Do you have any current projects that people can find you on?
We do have a current project. So we have turned our first 5e campaign into a book, which is coming out in a few months, actually. And we just had a weekend where we did both LARPing, live action role playing, and TTRPG plays in that world, in that campaign world. So that's a big thing, actually.
And where can people find that?
They can find that on our site, Orkenspalter TV. Yeah, I know it's a German name. Is
it in German? Is it all in German?
It is in German, yes. Okay. I'm sorry. So only if you read German.
There might be a portion of our audience who would be able to appreciate that work, but still sounds like a great accomplishment to turn that into a published work. I know that's a huge undertaking, so congratulations on that. Yeah. I know also that you're coming to D&D in a Castle November 4th to 8th, this upcoming, this fall that we're in right now. I also know your table is full, so this is all for fun to hear about your game that you're going to be running at D&D in a Castle. But there is a but. I understand that you are going to be making a little feature about your experience at D&D in a Castle, which you will be. Will that be in German or will that be in English? Will English speakers be able to watch that?
It will be like basically the frame around it will be in German. And of course, the interviews will be in English because it's going to be an English-speaking event, obviously. So I guess if you don't know German, you're going to be fine. Also, it's going to be on YouTube and the auto subtitles have gotten better.
Oh, great. So and we'll definitely be sure to be sharing that and letting people watch that and get a bit of an inside look at D&D in a Castle, which I think will be really interesting to people who haven't been before, to really see what it's like on the ground and see what the experience is and sort of meet people who are attending the event and get a real sense of it. So you can follow us if you're probably already following us if you're watching us here. And also you can follow Mháire. Where can we find you? And what's your YouTube channel?
Oh yeah, the YouTube channel that I'm a part of is Orkenspalter TV. It's German for Orc Cleaver TV. And on social media, you can find me just under my normal name, Mháire Stritter. And usually what I do in social media is usually just post about games that I run or that I'm interested in and stuff about pop culture. That's me.
So what are you planning for your game at D&D Castle? Tell us about the campaign you've got, without spoilers, because there may be some of your players watching. What have you got in store?
Yes, it's going to be a very me campaign, as in I'm known for both horror and humor. And so this is going to lean a little bit more toward horror. So a little bit dark fantasy, a little bit creepy, darker stuff, a little bit of body horror. And the setting is I've written a campaign world for this campaign, and I've invited my players to add their own backgrounds, to either pick something that I've created for them or to work with me to make something new, to be part of this world, because they're all going to be rather high-ranking members of different organizations. So we're starting on level 12, so it's going to be a bit more epic than the usual campaign.
A little higher level.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes. So I can throw some big stuff of them, some world-changing events.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I've got a couple of questions that have come in on the chat. If your GM style was a type of theme park ride, what ride would your style be and why? And then also, what are some of Mháire's favorite games she's been in? So your GM style and then top games.
Okay. I think I'd be like a horror roller coaster. So I've just recently been to one.
I've been on some.
that kind of trick you into thinking it's going up, and then you just drop down suddenly, and some creepy stuff in between, some scenery and some setting. I think that would be my kind of ride.
Cool. And your favorite games, some of your favorite games.
Oh, since I can see that's Dead Aussie Gamer asking, so I have to say any game with him. That's Michael. Yeah, I've played some games with him. Favorite games that I've been in, or favorite games that I've run. I do love to run horror games. So there's some that I've written that I'm quite proud of, where it gets about vampires, about darker stuff, and all the creepy crawlies. But I also like completely improvisational games where you don't know starting out where you're going. That's also a lot of my vibe. So
a lot of improv and open-endedness.
Yes.
Another question: what drew you to horror as a genre? What do you like about horror?
I just like stuff that makes you think about how squishy humans are. Always. since I've been little, and I'm very much into body horror and into looking where does what feels normal for a human ends, and where does the stuff begin that really unsettles someone, and to look at what kind of monster really works, not in like an old school, oh yeah, this is a monster way, but in really unsettling way. Why is Alien a good design, and how do you arrive at something like that? That has always fascinated me, and each time I'm actually able to create something that is truly unsettling for my players, that's my proudest moments.
Do you like to are the sort of player emotional reactions a big part of your sort of DMing ambitions or goals? Do you like to get inside people's heads and make them feel things when you're dungeon mastering?
Yeah, of course. I think everyone does, and never too far. So I always want people to be relaxed and to enjoy the game. But I like it when they go like, or if they get like the goosebumps. Yeah, that's the ideal place. And sometimes I also like, people laughing at a gaming table at the right moments, not laughing at you, laughing with you. And for some reason, people get hungry in my games every time I describe food.
I don't think that's just you.
Yeah.
Every time a common gaming situation. Yes. Where are Cheetos? When you're dungeon mastering, or in your approach to dungeon mastering, where do you kind of fall, or what's your sort of approach, philosophy to how the rules and the role play and the freedom and the constraints, how they interact, and how do you see that in your role in that as a dungeon master in your games?
Yeah, I'm always for going with the ideas of my players. If they're in some way or form viable in the world we're playing in and with the style and the tone, yeah, just try it and see how we can do it in the rule system we're using, or if we have to bend it, we bend it. So I think I'm in a happy middle ground. I do like to work the system and to look at what's possible with it. But if it comes in the way of actual character play and the ideas from the players, then the rules have to take a backseat in the end. Because yeah, it's a vehicle. It's not the be all and end all of role playing for me. It's more important that the input that I get actually is appreciated.
What do you think is the be all and end all of role playing for you? Or framed another way, what do you think makes a game of D&D really great? What's the outcome that it's like, yes, we had a good game because
That's
this
very
happened and that was the goal.
that's very simple. If everyone in the end says, "Yeah, I had fun," that's the end goal. I just want people to have fun with my game. And if there's something extra when they said, "Oh, I love this moment when my character did this," or I loved when we all decided to go this way together, or something like that. That's on top. But my first and most important goal in jamming is always I just want everyone at the table to have fun and to all basically level out. So not one person has all the fun and the rest is
Right.
okay. So yeah, just play the ball to each and every person as much as they want, as much as they need.
Cool. And in terms of the format of games at D&D in a Castle, is that a kind of format that you've played before, or run games over sort of multiple full days of gaming with the same party going through an adventure over several days and they're just there to play? Have you done that before? Is that something you're used to?
I've done that. Yes, I've done that before at conventions. It's not most kind of games that I play are one shots, or they're campaigns that we play like each week or each month. But this
Mhm.
playing the same adventure over several days, I've done that both just with friends, like
Yeah.
you meet over a few days at someone's place and just play all day and order snacks and food in between.
Yep.
And yeah, things like that. And sometimes at conventions, playing with the same people for several days to get the adventure finished simply. And I've done that a lot more when I was, yeah, basically when I was at university or when I was a teenager, because you just had
Mhm.
more time and it was
Yeah.
easier to get people to commit to several days of gaming. But everyone who's going to be at D in the Castle is going to be committed to several days of gaming. So I'm really looking forward to that.
That's wonderful. Yeah. I mean, that was the reason that D&D in the Castle was started, was because it's so hard to make that happen as an adult. And
Yeah.
there are some people. I founded this company with my brother, and he was that kind of gamer that played all weekend, all night, you know. And as an adult, you couldn't figure that out. And then the realization, a lot of people are coming into D&D now who are coming in as adults and never got that experience. And it's such a unique experience and such a wonderful experience to really just be able to dive into an adventure like that.
Yeah.
That's really why we created this, was to be able to offer that type of experience. How do you find that type of gaming format and time block affects the game and affects the experience of play?
It works in a way to make everything more intense, actually. You got just cut out all the time that you usually take to reconnect if you haven't seen people for a few weeks or even months. The time that you need to find out where you stopped playing last time and to where's my character. You stay in that headspace, you stay in that story, and it just gets more intense, and you go deeper and deeper and deeper. So I love that. And sometimes you just have to step back and say, "Okay, 5 minute break, everyone. We need it."
Yeah, yeah. And what excited you about coming to D&D in the Castle? What made you want to check out this event and come and Dungeon Master here at D&D in the Castle?
I was really curious to see how it would work out and what it's actually like, because D&D in a castle, as a German person hearing it, um, where I'm living right now, which is in Hessen, in the middle of Germany, you can't walk your dog without seeing a castle. So it's like, I could play D&D in a castle. So what is actually, oh no, it's just not, yeah, you play D&D and it's in a castle, but it's more than that. And I just wanted to see what it actually is, and to, yeah, do this documentary that we're also planning to do, to make a video about this, to show people what kind of events are actually out there and happening in the TTRPG space.
Very cool. I'm really looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing that video and seeing your experience at D&D in a Castle. For those just joining us, I'm talking with Mháire Stritter, who's going to be dungeon mastering for us at our upcoming D&D in a Castle this November. And she is bringing someone to help her make a documentary about her experience at D&D in a Castle and sort of share with the world what D&D in a Castle is, what it's like, what happens on the inside of the castle. What do we actually get up to in the castle? I mean, it's a lot of D&D. There's D&D and there's food and there's snacks and then there's fun and there's friends and there's castles, and it's just a lot of fun. I have another question coming in from the audience. What is Mháire's favorite monster? What's your relationship with monsters, Mháire?
So if we're talking D&D monsters, it is the mimic.
Ah.
Mimics are so stupid. I just love them. I've got miniatures for all kinds of mimics. I have the classical mimic that's a treasure chest. I have a beer barrel mimic. I have a chair mimic. I have a flower pot mimic. I have a table mimic. I have what do I have? I have a vending machine mimic, like a modern day mimic that tries to lure you in with soda. And all kinds of those. I just love them. I can't really explain it, but they're just stupid little guys, and I would fill my house with them.
Do you like them more as a player or more as a dungeon master to throw at your players?
I love it as a dungeon master, because in the end, I love to run an adventure which is just part of the Essentials kit, where it's basically you have to find the one thing that is the mimic in a dungeon, and it's always really fun because it could be anything.
That sounds like a lot of fun. In your games, do you tend to do more of the role play, more of the combat, more of the puzzles? What kinds of things tend to come up in your games, or that you really love to design and run players through, other than giving them encounters with mimics, which can happen at any time?
Yeah, anything could be a mimic. Yeah, it's usually more of interaction with NPCs and more exploring than just fights, but I do love a good combat. Oh yeah, the chat reminds me that beholders are also my favorite monster. That I have to say that because I built one for LARPing, like actually big beholder that someone has to work like a puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have the second place of my top monsters.
Cool. And do you have a lot of sort of puzzly stuff in your games? Is there a lot of like strategic thinking, or is it mostly about just like going for it with the combat, the story, that kind of thing?
I do like to prepare that, but then I just try and find out whether the players actually enjoy that. So I do love a combat that is a puzzle where you really have to decide who goes where and does what and when and in which order to get through, and to use your surroundings and just be smart about it and not just run in there and deal damage. But some people just want to run in there and deal damage. And if they want to do that, it's absolutely fine by me. But I do love a combat where you also have time to just banter and to talk and try everything and swing from the chandelier if you want to in my games, and throw stuff at each other. I'm just improvise and try anything as long as it's fun.
How did you get into D&D? What drew you to D&D? What kept you in? What brought you in and what kept you here?
What brought me in was I tried different games. So in Germany, when I started playing, I usually didn't start with Dungeons and Dragons back then, but it was one game that really drew me in my early 20s. And that was AD&D second edition. I'm not that old, but we just still played AD&D second edition because our game master had all the books at the time. And that was when I kind of said, oh, this works. This works for some of the stuff I want to do. So I wrote stuff, then campaigns, and ran them for friends in 3.5 mostly. And now with 5e, I've started doing a lot more of it and switching lots of my games to D&D actually.
Cool.
And it's mostly that you can really do fun stuff with the characters. It's the abilities and the spells and how you can create your character and actually do smart and or stupid stuff with it.
I have another question from the chat. What's the most important thing for a player to know on your table?
That they're safe with me. That they can't make a decision so stupid that they're breaking the game. That they can try anything. That is, I tell all my players, don't be afraid to break the story. If you manage to, congratulations. Then we take a 5-minute break and I come up with something else.
I'll be frantically writing in the back room.
Yeah, I love
all your
improvising.
friends. Cancel. Guys, I need to rewrite everything. Who's got something? Oh, we lost the volume on you for a second there. I don't know why.
For some reason, it decided to mute me. I don't know why. It just did. Yeah, I usually, there hasn't been a game in quite some time that completely went off the rails, basically, if there ever are rails. But if you force me to improvise, I'm going to love it. It's just, that's where I thrive.
So test the limits.
Yes, please do.
Push
Go anywhere. Go anywhere. Try anything. Talk to everyone. Do what you want. Just try and find what is the thing in the game that you want to do as a player. Don't worry about me.
Love it. I love that. You have all your players for the upcoming D&D in a Castle, November 4th to 8th. And so you have 6 players. That's the maximum for a game at D&D in a Castle. And I know you've been on our digital tavern, which is our platform, our online platform for interacting with players, with each other and with you as their dungeon master. How do you think this game is going to go based on the players that you've been chatting with so far?
I think it's going to be eclectic. I think we've got a mixture of different characters, and some of them are a little bit on the shady side, which is lovely. So I think they will be very open to just change track and to say, maybe we don't want to work for the people who actually sent us out on this errand anymore because something else is more interesting. So I think it might actually be a little bit more going sideways, changing track and trying out things than many other groups I've played with.
Cool. So it might be just your cup of tea, it sounds
like.
So we say.
Exactly.
Lovely. And you say that you're in Germany, and there are a lot of castles in Europe, and our North American players and Australian players and people from other parts of the world have not been to many castles generally, or we don't. They're still a novelty for us. Do you feel like a castle is still adds something to the game, or it just kind of feels commonplace to you to be running a game and hanging out in castles? Does the castle have an allure for you still, even as a European?
It does still, because not every castle is as lovely as Lumley. So most of the castles in Germany are ruins, and if they're still in good shape, they are usually for basically like a hostel, a youth hostel. So Lumley is going to be a different experience. I think the closest I've been to it is there's a castle where there's a lot of LARPs in Poland, which is rather swanky, actually, and it has lots of secret passages that you can go and find. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Lumley, because everything I've seen of it so far, I haven't been there, looks absolutely beautiful. So
Mhm.
that's going to
Have
be
you been to the
an-
Have you been to the UK before much? Have you spent
yes,
much time in? Any
yes, I've
advice
been
to
to
our
the UK
travelers
before.
from North America who are coming to the other side of the pond, or from outside of Europe and the UK? Any advice about traveling to that side of the world and holidaying there?
Learn to queue correctly, and
By
maybe
queue, she
wait.
means line up. We say
Yes,
line up. They don't know what queue
line up.
means.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
oh no, there's a
Okay.
whole word. I don't know. There's a whole language.
Yeah, learn what queuing means. Yeah, and maybe don't try to drive just after landing with a jet lag. So get someone else to drive you. Otherwise, go and enjoy it. Northern England is lovely. Try food that you don't know, and try and learn some Englishisms, Britishisms. It's gonna be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it's really wonderful at the castle. The staff that work at the hotel, and the locals. It's a completely different dialect from even other forms of English. It's a lot of fun. And luckily, you don't have to drive when you come to Indiana Castle, because we have a
Yes.
shuttle that picks up our guests at the airport and at the train station on the first day of the event. So you don't have to walk off the plane and try driving on the wrong side of the road. So, so that's one benefit. So, Mháire, I'm going to ask you. Oh, we've got one last question, which is, what is your favorite setting / edition in D&D?
My favorite setting in D&D is probably Sigil. So yeah, I like the weirdness of Sigil and the surrounding the Badlands, the Outlands. That's the word I was looking for. Sometimes switching languages makes my brain hurt. No, but I love that the weirdness of Sigil, and yeah, a close second place is always going to be the Sword Coast, because many of my favorite games have been set there, and I've played several games there, and it's just I feel at home there.
Love it. Love it. So we're reaching the end of our time. It's been lovely to chat with you, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you in person at the castle, and getting to see the documentary of your experience at Indiana Castle, and just getting to see how your game goes and what happens. And I look forward to hearing those updates as it progresses. I've been talking with Mháire Stritter, who is joining us for Indiana Castle as a dungeon master, November 4th to 8th. Her table is sold out, but there are other spaces available at the October round just before, which is our Halloween castle. So spending Halloween in a castle at D&D in a castle, playing an epic game with a whole community of amazing people like Mháire and our other friends. You can visit dindianacastle.com. There is a QR code up in the corner too if you want to check out all of our Dungeon Masters, all our games, and all our events of D&D in a Castle, which are ongoing, throughout the year. So I'm going to invite Mháire to take us out with an invitation to come to D&D in a Castle this fall and join in an epic D&D vacation. And then we will take it out with a video to inspire massive FOMO among everyone and make them want to come to D&D in a Castle.
So if you've ever dreamed of being in an actual castle and just spent several days going on a deep dive in a fantasy world, changing worlds, or maybe just having fun with friends, there is a way to do that, and it's D&D in a castle. And maybe at some point we're going to see each other and play again together.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, and we'll see you all at the castle.
Yeah, see you then.